Hello everyone, and happy March!
It says Gakute, Yashima Gakute, carp swimming up a waterfall, circa 1827 to 28. Swimming up a waterfall feels it's like a very accurate representation of everything right now.
Hi, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Whatever time of day it is for you, I hope it is good. How are you? It's 7 p.m. on Monday, February 3rd, 2025. I just finished a very meeting-heavy day and checked my work off my to-do list. I should be transitioning to my PhD work because I didn't manage to get that in this morning, but I'm just feeling a bit, I don't know, there doesn't seem to be a word or one word that accurately describes how I'm feeling right now. This semester, I'm taking a module on participatory action research, and before we started class, my professor said, I'm finding it really hard to be a professor right now. And I felt that very deeply. Even though I'm not a professor, the state of the world and crisis after crisis is making it hard to focus on things beyond getting through the day-to-day. I know that I'm in an extremely privileged position, and while I don't take my life or safety for granted because I see how fragile that is and how quickly we can go from being safe to unsafe, I can also recognize that I am not as directly impacted by a lot of what is going on in the United States and globally as others. But I still find it extremely disorienting to continue showing up at work and trying to meet standard deadlines, make progress on various projects, and write my dissertation while we're continuing to live through these unprecedented times. I go from thinking about the slip into as my friend called it, executive order after executive order, ICE raids, rollback of DEI, ongoing and colonial projects, to thinking about the wild NBA trade deadline. Luka to the Lakers, really? Warriors doing nothing, to Beyonce finally winning Album of the Year at the Grammys, to what I need to make for dinner, and back to wondering about whether or not there's even a point in me finishing my PhD, saving money, etc. when it feels like the world is on fire. In other words, things feel both very serious and also completely unserious. Yet I continue to show up to my meetings, pack my overnight oats, make progress with my research, laugh at the hysterical parts of the internet, and sigh in frustration at the annoying ones. I try to show up for those around me and for myself because, as incredible and unbelievable as it is, all of these things happen alongside each other. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you're feeling like this too, you're not alone, and I'm sending you this voice note via this YouTube video to let you know that. This is my attempt at staying the course through all of this. I do some cleaning, I also go over some of my financial goals, and I conclude by taking myself out for a nice solo dinner. So I hope that you enjoy, and I hope that you are finding ways to stay the course as well. Okay, it is 1:30. I've been cleaning for an hour and a half maybe. So I think I'm just going to throw some laundry in. I need to wash the bed sheets, but I feel good. I basically have all of the downstairs done with the exception I need to vacuum in here for sure. I'm looking at the floor. I'll try to clean the bathroom today. It might end up being a tomorrow task, but we shall see. I don't want to do too much because I actually need to write this afternoon, and I think my friend who also is in his PhD program, he's actually almost done, which is very exciting, but I think we're gonna write like soon-ish, so I'm gonna kind of wind it down for a little so I can rest before I write. Although I did just want to show you all this little corner, which I actually don't know if this is good to have a humidifier by books, but I don't know, it's kind of small, so my hope is that it's fine. I just have it for the planties over here. which I did rotate them so the other sides can get some light. And then we have our lovely birds of paradise right here. Based on the other leaf sizes, this leaf should go like up past that. So I think it's gonna be pretty big. Actually, this one has also started to put out a new leaf, so very exciting because both of them were like, I was worried that I had killed them or like we had killed them because for the last 6 months they just hadn't really been doing anything. The leaves just started to look more and more raggedy and they just weren't doing anything. So my partner and I were like, okay, let's just wait because it's winter. They are tropical plants, so they don't really love the winter, obviously. Winter here, I guess I should add, but we were kind of like, okay, let's wait. And if they don't put out any new leaves in the spring, then we will just figure that they're probably like dead. But what I ended up doing was I brought a bit larger one, was already in here, but what I did was I started using my humidifier and running it, and I guess that did the trick. I can't say definitively that the humidifier caused the plant to put out a new leaf. Could be a variety of things, but I do find it interesting that after I did that, I brought the smaller one in here, and within like a week or two as well, it put out a new leaf. So I'm gonna say it's a humidifier. This little corner, at least, I finally gathered all my books. Well, I have a lot of books, but these are all my library books because I keep forgetting, like as I'm doing kind of my Google Scholar searching and also just lit review and writing, I just keep adding books and I kind of keep forgetting that I request them. So this one I've already actually read. This was one of the books that I read last year. I just need to return it. The biggest thing is I have like sticky notes. You can't really see it. I have sticky notes in it, so I need to take all of them out. But I have already read this one. This one I'm really excited to read. It's Asian American is Not a Color. Excited to read this. Racial Formation in the United States. This was actually something that I'm reading based on Temi's recommendation. Epic Events. I think there was actually only one article in here that I wanted to read. It was about post 9/11. I honestly can't even remember. It was one of those things where I like checked it. I picked it up all my books and I was like, I don't even remember checking this out. And then this is Research Justice. I'm like 3/4 of the way through. I want to finish reading it. It's about participatory action research. These two are just kind of journals from politics group and about politics group and identities from, I think it's WPSA, but I don't remember, or maybe it's MPSA. And then this one right here, Racism and Identity in a Xenophobic World. I haven't started reading yet, but probably will skim. We will see, because I think this was another one of those things where I only wanted to read one article and I had to get the book. And then just some pics that my friend Val sent for my birthday. Oh, and then lovely Salt and Stone candle from my friend Lauren. And then as a quick note, this is actually the book that I'm primarily focused on reading right now. I am about halfway through, maybe over halfway through. Anyway, let me go get some laundry started. Also, I just need to say this playlist, amazing. I'm back in middle school. I put on an Usher playlist and it was the correct decision. Right now we have Mary J. Blige going. Hello everybody. I wanted to just kind of have a nice little chat about my financial goals. So in February, I met my savings goals. I was very happy about this. So I saved for my emergency fund. I've been moving money for my quarterly taxes. I've been maxing out my Roth IRA. I've also been contributing to my house funds, and then I've also been contributing to my 403b, and I have actually increased that amount because I got a small raise at the beginning of the year, and so I've increased my 403b account. And I actually was talking to a financial advisor that we have kind of access to through work as a service. She actually helped me better understand just how the retirement plan worked, and she walked me through my retirement planning, and I found it really helpful. It was free, so if your workplace does offer something like that, definitely take advantage. I think I'm gonna meet with her moving forward like once a year, or kind of like an annual checkup. Like you would have an annual physical, and I'm just doing like an annual kind of financial check-in, and then obviously as needed. So for the month of February, for the 50-30-20 kind of breakdown,
I was actually under my 50% for needs. I was also under my 30% for wants, and I was over the 20% for savings. So I ended up spending 45% on my needs. I spent 20% on my wants, and I saved 33%. And so it's like around that. There's some, I think that's like 2% off of 100%, but that's generally how it broke down. So I was actually able to save a decent amount. What was really helpful was basically seeing that I make enough money. And as long as I keep kind of monitoring and being diligent about everything, making sure I'm not overspending, that I can hit my goals and I can sometimes exceed them if I need to. And obviously not all the months are going to go like this because changes in income, larger expenses that come up, the percentages I'm sure will fluctuate, but it was just really helpful for me to see this and just kind of know that I'm doing okay. Now let's discuss March. March, as I said, I kind of am hoping to stick to the 50, 30, 20% breakdown. I think this month, one of the expenses that will arise from my wants category is this will be the month that I actually decorate my office a little bit more. I want to buy some shelves, and because we're going into spring, we're going to try to propagate some of the plants, and it'll be a great time for me to like add more plants to the office and just kind of, I already have an initial idea at least of how I'm going to kind of change and move stuff around and make it a little more cozy and less beige. And then I also have some friend dinners coming up in March, so I just need to be mindful of that. This month there's going to be at least 2 because I have a friend visiting for a conference. We're actually presenting at the Asian Association for Asian American Studies conference in April, but she's visiting for ESS and we're just gonna go out to dinner. She's visiting. I have one coming up with my friends from my first job out of college. I haven't seen them in a minute, so I'm very excited to see them. That will happen at the end of March. So I have 2 planned dinners out. And then it's also my partner's birthday this month, so I anticipate we may go out to eat. I'm gonna get him a gift. And then it's also my friend Maggie's birthday in the month of March, so I need to get her a 30th birthday gift. Actually, that was on my to-do list today, so let me actually just double check and see if there's anything else this month, any other expenses that may be coming up for me. Finally, something else that I just kind of wanted to talk about with all of you, because I've been having this conversation with some of my friends, is that in the month of March, I really wanted to recommit to donating to some organizations and mutual aid funds and just causes that I want to support. You know, now that I am making more money, I want to be very cognizant of not hoarding it, which I understand that there's a difference between making enough money to save for retirement and buy things for fun and being a billionaire. Like, there's a huge difference between that. So I sat down and I looked up some new orgs to donate, and I wanted to make this a monthly, like a recurring monthly contribution. While it does mean I'm donating a smaller amount every month, I think there's something about consistently giving money that is very important. And I also wanted to give an amount that I knew I could sustain even if my income fluctuated. I just wanted to quickly run through these. So the first new organization that I decided to pledge my monthly support to in March is the Asian American Resource Workshops. They call themselves a political home for Pan-Asian communities in Greater Boston, and they're committed to building grassroots power through political education, creative expression, and issue-based and neighborhood organizing. The next org is this organization called Black and Pink. I believe they are a Black-run organization, and they're dedicated to abolishing the criminal punishment system and liberating LGBTQIA2S plus people and people living with HIV and AIDS who are affected by that system through advocacy, support, and organizing. And then the next one I wanted to support is MIRA. MIRA stands for Massachusetts Immigrant and Refugee Advocacy Coalition, and they basically promote the rights and integration of immigrants and refugees. They call themselves a dynamic and multi-ethnic coalition with 140 plus organizational members, including grassroots community organizations, refugee resettlement agencies, providers of social, legal, and health services, faith-based organizations, and civil and human rights advocates. They really aim to mobilize immigrant communities to advocate for themselves and amplify and support their voices. And then the fourth and final organization that I've added as my recurring monthly donations is the No Name Book Club. So I am a patron of the No Name Book Club. They are a Black-owned worker cooperative connecting community members both inside and outside carceral facilities with radical books. So every month they uplift 2 books written by Black, Indigenous, and other people of color. Those are the organizations that I am supporting and have committed to support on a monthly basis, even though I know that it would be valid for me, and it is valid for me when I feel just kind of a bit hopeless about what's going on and just kind of discouraged. I am also trying to remind myself that in these moments, there's also a lot of community organizing, community work, and community care that's happening. It might not make the news, you might not hear about it, but I encourage you to try to seek it out and try to find the people who are doing the work, because there are definitely people doing the work. That's been one thing that's helped me.
I am going to dinner tonight. I'm going on a solo dinner date. This is my first one in probably a while. I personally love going out to eat by myself. So tonight, basically the whole reason for this is that my partner is away right now. He's out of town, so I am alone this weekend, or have been alone this weekend. Obviously I miss him, but I also don't mind being alone. I was like, okay, I'm home alone and need something perhaps to do, or just want to do something fun because it's the first. And one of my credit cards that I use has rent day bonuses. It's the Built credit card, and it's double points. So dining becomes 6x points, and that's the highest of any of my cards. Might as well take advantage. Let me focus, and I will maybe, depending on the vibe of the restaurant, see you at dinner.